the interwebs. Oh, I see. Hold on. Okay. Let me see if it's working now. It might be that I just have to record it. Oh no, it appears to be happening. Okay. Here we go. Let me just make one more shift. Patience. As we're being patient, just coming into our awareness of the moment of what's going on right now, what it feels like to be in our bodies right now. And yeah, as we were coming into class in the Zoom room, I asked what would be an interesting exploration, and the interesting exploration is the joy of life. And I have to say, I really do enjoy my own life. And I think one of the keys to enjoying life is to be able to notice what's actually going on, right? When things are happening. And then to have some equanimity with things when they aren't perfect. Because even when things aren't perfect, sometimes there's stuff to appreciate about that. So let's come in, just coming into sensation in whatever way that shows up for you. So for just a few minutes of landing in our bodies, becoming aware of anything to become aware of. Feeling into what it feels like to be in our bodies alive right now on the planet. So what I'm going to offer in this session, thinking about it as we come into our bodies, is that we start to notice where our awareness travels to. And it's always easy to notice pain, it's always easy to notice something uncomfortable, but sometimes it's harder to notice what actually feels good. So in tuning towards the joy of life, we want to keep bringing our awareness towards what feels good, what feels delicious, what is interesting, what is stimulating or draws us in. And this can be happening on multiple levels, right? We can do it within just sensation in our body. We can do it in the visual field, seeing what's around us. We can listen and do it with sound, listening to music, listening to people talk, drawing ourselves towards what is interesting and of interest to us. And I also want to just open up this idea that the joy of life could be about learning new things, coming into our curiosity. Often, what we don't know has a lot of richness if we start to open ourselves to be able to see things that maybe weren't apparent before, maybe weren't in our scope of, oh, these are my interests. But if we want to expand into the joy of life, maybe the bigger we can expand our perceptions and take in different things as interesting and delicious, then more things are going to give us joy. So coming into that openness where we're going to maybe feel an opening in our heart or imagine our heart opening up to take in and receive the world around us in different ways. And I'm just going to start this off with something that happens to me when I wear yellow. If I wear like a bright yellow color, which I was wearing this morning, and I have some in this sock, I start to notice all the yellow around me as well as the yellow that I'm wearing. And today I'm wearing this, I've got green and turquoise. So like I can also see into my environment and see, oh, is there a green that's the same as this? Is there a turquoise that's the same as this? And for me, color brings me joy. So part of joyful living, living life in joy, is acknowledging what brings you joy and then seeking ways to move into that, as well as possibly opening up the potential for more things to bring you joy and to tune towards pleasure as opposed to tuning towards pain. But the beauty of tuning towards pleasure as opposed to pain is that this is a spectrum of feeling and of sensation. And we're going to go both directions on the spectrum. And when it comes to feeling and sensation, sometimes the more we can allow our bodies and our minds to take in the darker shadow side, then sometimes there's more light on the other side, right? We allow that teeter-totter of balance to get more spacious, more active, more open. Just letting yourself come into presence with those words. Even sometimes resistance can be enjoyable, like feeling the push, feeling the pull of what is happening in life. Participating. Let's add a breath sound to this. Let's go with a an ooh ah e, but without the vocal cords, just with the breath. So like ooh, inviting in the imagination. We could say it's almost like we're casting the mists with the breath sound, casting the spell to invite in whatever fairy godmother of joy and happy life is around, right? Maybe there is one for us. Maybe there is a guide, someone to guide us to come into that, to move forward into that more joyous participation in life. Inviting the imagination to fill us up with the I don't know what, right? To be open to whatever comes in, the surprise of not knowing. And let's bring in some micro movement with our breath and allow the pictures that come to you, the ideas, the stories that come to you that enrich you to be whatever they are, maybe different than the way other people would look at them. And you can allow it to come in without judgment. There's a right way or a wrong way that things are going to come in. Just inviting in the imaginal into your experience. Like for me, part of my idea of like this joyful magic is like a big a big giant dragon like rollicking in their gold and in their jewels in their cave with all this stuff and like in a joyous way, right? The dragon is happy, loving it, rolling around on the jewels, like each little jewel and gold piece rubbing his her. My dragon is non-gender conforming, imagining that this dragon is just happily splashing around in there and not greedily holding this wealth, but sharing it, whoever needs it. Oh, there's an abundance. All the dragon wealth is for everyone, not just for the dragon to roll around in, but So other creatures are welcome to come into the field of this dragon, into the cave, roll around in the gold. So whatever the story is for you, it might be something totally different. But invite in that possibility of just magical practice. What does it mean? It's alchemy, right? It's transmutation. Oh, I've got a white dragon coming right in, about to leave. In my life, I never imagined I would have a white cat, but I have one and he makes me really happy. So there's also the joy that comes in from what has arisen and what was allowed to happen. And I had to change my reality enough to allow that reality to happen. So imagining that your fairy godmother or your big happy dragon wants you to be happy and joyous, wants you to be in the joy of life, right? So, sort of like a tantric practice of inviting in whatever your being is, could be something very different that supports your joy, that supports your playfulness, that supports your yes. So, inviting that in. And let's do some more of the breath sound. Shh. Inviting movement in whatever way feels good. Yes, that's a cat tail. That's a happy white dragon tail that's wrapping itself around the computer right now, feeling the magic. And the less that we take ourselves seriously in this practice, the better, right? That we don't, there's no perfect way of doing this. There's no right or wrong. It's just allowing, inviting, and opening to receive some joy of life, joie de vivre. And I think part of really receiving the information is, and to have that flow of joyful life keep coming, is when small little presents open up that we have the capacity to say yes and not worry about whether we deserve it or don't deserve it or anything. But oh, here's a little present. It's a deer in the road, that not a living deer walking down the road with their antlers saying hello, right, that you may encounter, not a deer in the front of your car, but a deer or some small creature, or it could be the leaves on the trees or a flower blooming or the sound of a bird or just an idea popping into your head. So inviting it all in as if there's this well of abundance. And in this well of abundance is loads of joy. And you can wash in the well of abundance, right? And you will not sully the waters. You can drink from the water of the well and it will not poison you. We're just allowing our experience to be richer. We're allowing our experience to be more delicious. And it could just be like, oh, it feels so delicious just to turn my head or just to move my hands or to imagine that I'm made of silk. And as I move, there's like this soft rustling or something else. It could be a waterfall. And in this place, there's a freedom from judgment. There's a freedom from criticism. The more childish, the better. The more foolish, the better, right? This is the place of the fool from the tarot who's starting her journey on the road of life, on the quest of being. And all the things that happen add to the richness of life. And we can only know the joy because we also know the sadness. So inviting the whole and giving yourself full permission to participate in any way that feels interesting or fun. It doesn't have to be anything that I'm saying. It can just be what strikes you as good and appropriate and interesting. I'm going to share sound. I feel like I need to share different types of music today for this exploration. Let's see. I'm going to start with this, but then it's probably going to move into something else. So this is kind of like brighter music. Like I feel like this is like music from the Serengeti or something. It's by Michelle Aiello. Invite space into your exploration. So there's up and downness, side, side, forward, backward, diagonals, all the possibilities. And if you feel like there's some way that it's hard for you to move or you can't move, maybe just let that idea, that old crusty idea, just shake away and fall apart and disappear so that we're not limited by our ideas of who we are and how we should move, but we have freedom to experiment with what feels interesting and good. Just going to see where this goes. It might, there we go. This song is called The Bone Flower, also by Michelle Aiello. So let this be a journey of discovery in this music. Maybe you have a very clear image of the joyful path or whatever brings you happiness, or maybe it's more more elusive, and maybe it's a secret. It's going to come out in some little way that you don't know yet. So opening up to that, allowing your imagination to dance. I'm going to take it down to the floor. Freeing up any limiting beliefs that you have about who you are. If you are just a star or some stardust, how does it feel to be that? Maybe just saying yes. I think Anais Nin had a whole thing about a poem about yes, saying yes. And then Kate Bush made a song about it. So how is it to say like yummy? Yes. Give yourself the yum as if everything tastes delicious. And it doesn't have to have any real storyline or make any sense whatsoever. Yes. In the tarot, the aces are kind of like the seed growing underneath the ground. And it's before the seed comes through the surface, right? So there's the growth underneath. And maybe in many ways in our lives, there are these seeds planted all around us, growing a gorgeous garden of we don't know what yet. So letting that sort of initial, again, it's the beginning of something like the Fool in the tarot, the aces in the tarot, the aces of cups of basically of the elements. So cups like the emotions, the water element, wands like fire, the magic element, the electrical impulses in our body, pentacles, the earth element, and swords, air element. So imagining that we're just all aces right now. New life coming through with we don't know what, or maybe we do, and maybe we've just been waiting for this forever, and now it's coming. We can be happy and receive. Oh, that's going to be the end of that. I don't know what the next song is. Oh, it's going to be a little more active. Oh, we can go with that. This is also Michelle Ayello, Unter den Linden. I think it's a really short one, though. Oh, no, we're good. So the linden are trees, right? Under the linden trees. Whatever magic is in your life is your magic. It's what you respond to. So everyone's relationship with that is going to be slightly different. Let yourself enter like the dreamlike realm. Allowing your body to be very buoyant, very free flow. If you encounter resistance, that's okay. Welcome to. Yeah, I feel like all of Michelle Aiello's music is just imagination realm. Inviting us in. So anything can be the reference to bring in other things, right? The magic can come from feeling the wind, feeling the air, watching the leaves rustle, listening to a bird sing. It's also like a kind of shamanism to be in dialogue, noticing what's happening with the earth, with the land, right? Feeling, hearing, seeing the experience of being in this magical way. Where sometimes it's like you hear a word or you read a word and then you hear it again, like some unusual word, like marshmallow or watermelon or mercury, and then boom, there it is again. The other day I was driving and I was listening to the radio, and it was an opera. Uh, it was the opera Xerxes. I was listening to it for a few minutes or until that piece ended. And then 2 minutes later, I was driving on the highway and I saw a big truck, and on the back of the truck was written Xerxes. And like to me, that's like a magical moment. I'm like, oh, I've never seen a truck that had Xerxes written on it before. So I feel like it's telling me a secret about my world. It could be anything else. Reading the signs of life that are out there, right? The signs of, oh, this is magical. There's something here. These connections, interweavings, reality. Dancing, playing, right? How is reality dancing and playing in your experience? Some people just go, oh, that's nothing, it doesn't count, it's just a coincidence. But what if it's a synchronous magic thing, really worth noticing? Worthy of our attention. This song is called Oklahoma. It just feels really spacious to me. And gentle. Sometimes we find in our systems places where we've hardened against life, or where we've blocked flow, where we're doing our best holding on to just keep it, just maintain. Just breathe and let that stuff melt. Nothing to hold on to. Like Alice going down the rabbit hole. At first it's scary, but then suddenly you realize, oh, I'm just still falling. I'm going to do one more song. We're just going to skip over to Anthony. This one feels like a desert to me, but it's beautiful and full of life. Or it's life growing, it's coming through. This one has sort of a darker feeling, but at the same time, I feel like there's that hope and that striving or that reaching in the flute. And then that underlying ground of the synthesizer. Or maybe it's mystery, like a mirage in the desert or an oasis. Don't worry, there's a rollicking dragon. Here, I put the wrong one on. That was the short version. Here's the long version. The rollicking dragon will come and save you if you're going to die of dehydration. So enjoy the moment, whatever's going on. The richness of sensation, the richness of being in a body on the planet right now. And there is certainly a lot of darkness in the world. It was ever thus, right? It was ever thus. So, can we find some peace within ourselves? And it's not a crime to feel joy in your body. It's it's what we all need, right? It's going to feed us as well. So, partake of the ambrosia. Don't deny yourself the joy of life. If there are people or gods or goddesses or creatures or anyone that you see as being a joyous being, invite that archetypal energy into your experience and invite what would it be like to feel like them? What would it be like to engage in that kind of joyful living? Invite it in. Because if you are aware of it, it's not separate anyway. I'm like making this mandala with my arms. And so much of the beauty of life and existing is nothing we can hold on to. It's a flow that we can be in. So, like the mandala, like a sand painting, like it's transitory, it comes and goes. Thinking like watching horses running on the beach. I don't know why. That seems like something that would come and go. They're not going to be there all the time. But sometimes the horses are running on the beach. So joy could be found like in a kinesthetic way through movement, in a visual way, seeing something or noticing something, or in a auditory way, listening to something, coming to life. And to be in life means it's transient. It's going to come, it's going to go. Oh, I actually let that one time out. I just have to share this right here. This tail that has been wrapped around the computer. It's very warm. If my camera wouldn't stop working, I would show you the white kitty who's got his foot on the computer now. So let's just take a couple of minutes of or breaths or whatever, a little bit of time just to let that stuff land, percolate, uh, integrate, processing the processing, and gratitude for that idea, the joy of life. As long as we're alive, we can change things, right? We can notice different things, we can learn new things, or we can settle in more, we can relax more. As long as we're alive, we have access to being, which is a huge gift. So tuning into that, like the gratitude of being here in a living, breathing body, participating in this big moment. Into the next big moment and the next big moment and the next big moment, right? All of it is just this life, effulgent life happening. And this sort of visual imagination can also be happening with your eyes closed. It doesn't have to be that you see everything, but it's like we can have the movie screen in our mind. We can also have like the whole feeling sensation of stuff in our bodies, or the sound, smell, taste, all of the senses coming in and participating with each other, even just noticing when your awareness shifts from like one sense to another, or where they're both kind of working together, or they're often a lot of them are working at the same time, right? Or micro shifting in that awareness. So letting yourself tune into that. When is it shifting? And what am I drawn towards? And sometimes in life, I think we guide our life by moving away from something, and sometimes we guide it by moving towards something. So just noticing, are the choices being in, I'm opening my hands to this, I'm opening to this experience, or are they, oh, I gotta shut it out. Sometimes you gotta shut it out. That's okay too. But even when you're shutting it out, you can still open to your own experience. So that's what's kind of interesting. All right, I'm gonna stop live streaming. So if you made it into this video, I think a few people popped in and out throughout. But if you are there now, thank you.